From the moment we take our first breath, the need for security and stability is embedded deep within us. It is not just a desire, but a fundamental human requirement, shaping the way we think, act, and build our lives. Security gives us a sense of safety, a foundation upon which we can create our futures without the constant fear of uncertainty. It allows us to rest at night without worrying about where our next meal will come from, where we will sleep, or whether we are protected from harm. Stability, on the other hand, provides consistency, a steady rhythm in a world that is often unpredictable. It helps us navigate life with confidence, knowing that we have something reliable to fall back on. People who lack security and stability often find themselves living in survival mode, making decisions based on immediate needs rather than long-term growth. When we do not feel safe physically, emotionally, or financially, our minds become consumed with worry, and it becomes difficult to focus on anything beyond getting through the day. This is why individuals raised in unstable environments, where love was conditional or where financial struggles were constant, often grow up with an underlying sense of anxiety. They may find it difficult to trust others, struggle to maintain healthy relationships, or develop an obsessive need for control because unpredictability was once their greatest enemy. Security is not just about money or physical protection. It also applies to our emotional and psychological well-being. We crave the reassurance that we are valued, loved, and supported. We want to know that the people closest to us will not abandon us at the first sign of hardship, that we have a place where we truly belong. Emotional security is what allows us to be vulnerable, to express our true selves without fear of judgment or rejection. It is what makes love feel safe and friendships feel genuine. Without it, we may close ourselves off, build walls around our hearts, or settle for relationships that lack depth simply because they feel predictable. In the pursuit of stability, many people make sacrifices that in the long run may cost them their happiness. They stay in jobs they hate because financial security seems more important than personal fulfillment. They remain in relationships that no longer serve them because the fear of change feels greater than the pain of staying. They suppress their true desires, convincing themselves that it is better to be comfortable than to take risks. Stability is crucial. It should not come at the expense of growth, passion, or self-worth. True security is not about avoiding all risks. It is about creating a life where we have the strength and resources to handle whatever comes our way. The irony is that the more we cling to stability, the more we sometimes resist the very changes that could lead us to a deeper sense of security. Life is unpredictable, and the only true stability comes from within. It is not found in a job title, a relationship, or a bank account balance, but in the confidence that no matter what happens, we will be okay. This kind of security is built through self-awareness, resilience, and the ability to adapt. It is found in trusting ourselves and knowing that we have faced hardships before and come out stronger. It is about understanding that stability is not the absence of change, but the ability to remain grounded even in the midst of uncertainty. At its core, the need for security and stability is about more than just comfort. It is about freedom. When we feel secure, we have the mental and emotional space to dream, to take risks, to pursue what truly matters to us. We no longer live in fear, making choices out of desperation or scarcity. Instead, we operate from a place of confidence, knowing that we are safe within ourselves. Stability allows us to build something lasting, a career, a family, a legacy, without constantly looking over our shoulders, waiting for everything to fall apart. It is the foundation upon which a fulfilling life is built, and when we have it, we can finally focus on not just surviving, but thriving. Deep within every human being lies the desire for passion and excitement, a longing that goes beyond mere survival and routine. It is what makes us feel alive, what sparks our imagination, and what fuels our motivation to pursue more than just the ordinary. Passion is the fire that burns within us, pushing us toward the things that make our hearts race and our souls feel fulfilled. Excitement is the thrill of the unknown, the anticipation of something new, the rush of stepping outside of our comfort zones. Without these, life can feel stagnant, predictable, and devoid of meaning. Passion is not just about romance or career ambitions. It extends to everything that ignites a deep emotional response in us. It is the feeling of being so completely absorbed in something that time disappears. Whether it is creating art, exploring new places, writing, building, performing, or simply engaging in deep conversations that challenge our minds. Passion is the fuel that drives personal growth and fulfillment. It gives life texture and richness, turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. However, many people go through life suppressing their passions, settling for a routine that feels safe but lacks excitement. Society often conditions us to prioritize practicality over passion, to seek stability over adventure, and to choose predictability over possibility. While stability is important, a life devoid of passion eventually leads to dissatisfaction. People who ignore their inner desires for excitement and purpose often find themselves feeling restless, unfulfilled, and disconnected from their true selves. They may feel as though they are merely existing rather than truly living. Excitement, on the other hand, is what brings spontaneity and adventure into our lives. It is what makes our hearts race, our eyes light up, and our spirits soar. It can be as simple as trying something new, meeting different people, taking risks, or embracing opportunities without fear. Excitement keeps us engaged with life, reminding us that there is always something more to experience. Without it, days blend into one another and life starts to feel monotonous. Many people associate passion and excitement with youth, believing that as they grow older, these desires must be pushed aside in favor of responsibility. But the truth is, passion and excitement are not reserved for a particular stage of life. They are available to us at any age. The difference is that as we grow, we must make the conscious choice to seek them out. We must be willing to reignite old passions, explore new interests, and break free from the routines that no longer serve us. For some, the search for passion and excitement may mean changing careers, moving to a new city, or pursuing a long-forgotten dream. For others, it may be found in deep relationships, in meaningful conversations, in acts of creativity, or in the simple joys of life. The key is to never stop searching for the things that set your soul on fire. Passion does not always arrive in grand, life-altering ways. It can be found in small moments, in personal victories, in the way we choose to experience the world around us. The biggest mistake people make is believing that passion and excitement must be external, that they must come from another person, a perfect situation, or an ideal opportunity. In reality, they are internal states of being. They come from within, from the willingness to embrace life with an open heart and a curious mind. When we cultivate passion in our everyday lives, We begin to see the world differently. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, and even the simplest moments are filled with meaning. Ultimately, the desire for passion and excitement is not something to ignore or suppress. It is a call to live fully, to embrace life with enthusiasm, and to chase after what truly matters. It is the difference between a life that feels mundane and one that feels exhilarating. It is what separates those who simply exist from those who truly live. Every human being, no matter where they come from or what they have been through, carries within them a deep and undeniable longing for recognition and love. It is an essential part of the human experience, a core need that shapes our relationships, our self-worth, and the way we move through the world. This longing is not about seeking validation for the sake of ego, nor is it about needing constant approval from others. It is about the fundamental human desire to be seen, to be heard, and to be valued. Not for what we do, but for who we are. Recognition is more than just acknowledgement. It is the feeling of being truly understood. It is when someone looks at you and says, I see you, I recognize your worth, you matter. In a world that often feels impersonal and fast-moving, where people are constantly distracted and preoccupied, being recognized can feel like a rare and precious gift. When we are seen for our efforts, for our struggles, and for our uniqueness, we feel a sense of belonging. We feel like we have a place in the world, a purpose that is acknowledged by those around us. From childhood, we seek recognition in the eyes of our parents, our teachers, our friends. A child who is praised for their creativity, intelligence, or kindness grows up believing that they have something valuable to offer. But a child who is ignored, dismissed, or only noticed when they make mistakes may struggle with self-worth for years to come. The need for recognition does not disappear with age. It follows us into adulthood, shaping the way we form relationships, pursue careers, and define success. Love, on the other hand, is the force that makes recognition truly meaningful. It is not enough to simply be seen. We want to be cherished, accepted, and loved for who we are at our core. Love is what gives recognition depth. It transforms acknowledgement into connection, admiration into devotion, and acceptance into belonging. Without love, even the greatest achievements can feel empty, and without recognition, even the deepest love can feel distant. Yet so many people go through life feeling unseen and unloved, carrying the weight of this unmet longing in their hearts. Some search for it in the wrong places, trying to earn love through success, perfection, or approval. Others build walls around themselves, fearing that opening up will only lead to rejection. But the truth is, recognition and love do not have to be earned through performance, nor should they be withheld as a form of control. They are meant to be given freely, to be shared in a way that lifts and strengthens those who receive them. For some, the longing for recognition and love becomes a lifelong pursuit, a journey of self-discovery and healing. It is about learning to recognize your own worth even when others fail to see it. It is about understanding that love is not just something you receive, it is something you give, something you cultivate in yourself and share with the world. The most powerful recognition comes not from external validation, but from the quiet assurance that you are enough, just as you are. The challenge in life is to find balance, to seek recognition without depending on it, to crave love without losing yourself in the pursuit of it, True fulfillment comes when we learn to recognize our own value first, when we stop waiting for the world to tell us we are enough and start believing it ourselves. Because when we do, we attract the right kind of recognition and the right kind of love. The kind that is genuine, lasting, and deeply fulfilling. Every human relationship is a dance between two fundamental desires, the need for attachment and the longing for freedom. We want to feel deeply connected, to know that we are loved, supported, and valued, but at the same time, we crave independent space and the ability to express ourselves as individuals. The challenge is finding a balance between these two forces without losing ourselves in either extreme. Attachment is a fundamental part of the human experience. From the moment we are born, we seek connection. As children, we look to our caregivers for comfort and reassurance. And as we grow, our attachment needs evolve into friendships, romantic relationships, and deeper social bonds. We thrive when we feel connected, when we know that someone is there for us, that we are seen and valued. Love, support, and intimacy bring us security, providing an emotional foundation that gives us confidence to face the world. But if attachment becomes too consuming, it can lead to dependency. When we rely on someone else for our happiness, our identity, or our sense of worth, we begin to lose ourselves. We may fear losing the relationship so much that we compromise our own needs, silencing our true feelings in an effort to keep the connection intact. We may become overly anxious, seeking constant reassurance, or we may cling to relationships that no longer serve us simply because the idea of being alone feels unbearable. On the other hand, freedom is just as essential. We are not meant to exist solely for another person. We are meant to grow, to explore, to create, and to experience life on our own terms. Freedom allows us to be individuals within our relationships, to maintain our passions, friendships, and dreams outside of the people we love. It gives us the space to discover who we truly are without the weight of expectation or the fear of disappointing others. Yet if we lean too far into freedom without maintaining our attachments, we risk isolation. When we prioritize independence to the point where we push others away, we miss out on the richness that deep relationships bring. We may avoid emotional vulnerability, fearing that closeness will lead to dependence or pain. We may convince ourselves that we are better off alone, only to later realize that life feels empty without meaningful connection. Balancing attachment and freedom means understanding that love does not have to be restrictive, and independence does not have to mean disconnection. It is about giving and receiving, being close without losing yourself, and knowing that true connection should never feel like a cage. Healthy relationships are built on trust, respect, and the ability to support each other while still allowing space to grow. This balance starts within. It requires self-awareness, knowing when we are holding on too tightly and when we are distancing ourselves out of fear. It requires communication, expressing our needs openly without guilt or resentment. And most importantly, it requires trust, trusting that love is strong enough to withstand distance, that freedom does not mean abandonment, and that the right people will respect both our need for closeness and our need for space. When attachment and freedom exist in harmony, relationships feel effortless. They become a source of strength rather than stress, a place of comfort rather than control. We feel safe enough to be ourselves, to share our deepest truths without fear of rejection, and to step away when needed, knowing that love does not dissolve in absence. True connection is not about possession, it is about presence, about knowing that whether near or far, love remains. From the moment we enter this world, our experiences begin to shape the way we see ourselves, others, and the things we desire in life. A childhood is where the foundation of our wants is built, where the blueprint of our emotional and psychological needs is drawn. Whether we realize it or not, the things we chase in adulthood, the love we seek, the success we pursue, the validation we crave are often echoes of what we did or did not receive as children. If a child grows up in a home filled with love, encouragement, and emotional security, they are more likely to grow into an adult who believes they are worthy of good things. They seek out healthy relationships. They pursue their dreams with confidence, and they do not feel the constant need to prove themselves to the world. But when a child grows up feeling neglected, criticized, or unimportant, their wants become shaped by that absence. They may seek external validation, believing that their worth is tied to achievement. They may chase after people who do not respect them, because their earliest understanding of love was tied to earning affection rather than receiving it freely. The way our parents or caregivers treated us influences the type of love we believe we deserve. If a child was met with warmth, open communication, and support, they are more likely to expect that in their relationships as adults. They won't settle for less because they know what love should feel like. But if a child grew up in an environment where love felt conditional, where they had to behave a certain way to receive approval, or where emotional connection was inconsistent or unavailable, they may find themselves drawn to relationships that mirror that same instability. They may chase people who are emotionally unavailable, hoping to finally earn the love they never received. Our childhood also shapes how we view success and self-worth. A child who was constantly praised for their efforts, not just their results, will grow into an adult who understands that their value isn't solely tied to achievement. They will take risks, knowing that failure does not define them. But a child who was only recognized when they excelled, when they brought home perfect grades, when they met high expectations, when they performed at their best, may grow into an adult who equates their worth with what they can produce. They may become workaholics, perfectionists, or people who struggle to rest because they have internalized the belief that they must always be achieving something to be valued. Even the way we handle rejection and failure is influenced by our childhood. If a child was taught that mistakes are a natural part of life, that failure is an opportunity to learn rather than a reason for shame, they will move through life with resilience. They will take chances, knowing that setbacks do not define them. But if a child was shamed for their mistakes, or if they were never allowed to fail without severe consequences, they may grow into an adult who fears taking risks. They may avoid new opportunities because they are afraid of being judged, criticized, or seen as not enough. The way we view money, security, and abundance is also deeply tied to childhood experiences. A child who grew up in financial stability, where their needs were met without anxiety or stress, may have a more balanced approach to money. As an adult, they may see it as a tool rather than an obsession. But a child who grew up in scarcity, where money was always a struggle or a source of conflict, may develop an unhealthy relationship with finances, either hoarding it out of fear or spending impulsively because they never learned how to manage it. Even the way we express our emotions, the way we communicate, and the way we set boundaries are learned behaviors from childhood. If a child was encouraged to express their feelings without shame, they grow into an adult who can communicate openly and honestly. But if they were told to toughen up, if they were punished for showing vulnerability, or if their emotions were dismissed, they may grow into an adult who suppresses their feelings, struggling to express their needs in relationships. Understanding how childhood shapes our wants is one of the most powerful things we can do for ourselves. It allows us to break free from patterns that no longer serve us, to stop chasing things that were never truly meant for us, and to start healing from the wounds we may not have even realized we were carrying. The good news is, while childhood shapes us, it does not have to define us forever. The moment we recognize how our past has influenced our present, we gain the power to reshape our future. We can unlearn the unhealthy patterns. We can rewire the beliefs that no longer serve us. And we can begin to pursue the kind of life that is truly aligned with who we are meant to be. In a world that glorifies achievement, status, and material wealth, success is often seen as the ultimate goal. People push themselves relentlessly, sacrificing sleep, joy, and even their well-being to reach the next milestone, the next promotion, the next big win. Society teaches us that success is what defines us, that our worth is measured by how much we accomplish, how much money we make, and how impressive our resumes look. But what happens when, after achieving everything we once dreamed of, we still feel empty inside? What happens when the applause fades, when the trophies collect dust, when the numbers in our bank account don't fill the void in our hearts? That is when we begin to realize that success alone is not enough. What truly matters, what gives life meaning, is connection. Connection is what fuels the human spirit. It is the bond between family, the friendships that uplift us, the love that nurtures us, and the moments of deep understanding between souls. It is the shared laughter, the comforting embrace, the silent support during hard times. Success may bring recognition, but connection brings fulfillment. Success may open doors, but connection opens hearts. No matter how high we climb on the ladder of achievement, without connection, we will always feel like something is missing. When people look back on their lives, they rarely talk about the awards they won or the money they earned. Instead, they speak about the relationships that shaped them. They remember the people who stood by them during their darkest hours, the ones who made them laugh until they cried, the ones who saw them for who they truly were. Because at the end of the day, we are not meant to walk this journey alone. We are wired for connection, built for love, created for community. Without it, success is just an empty shell, a house without warmth, a song without melody. Many people sacrifice relationships in pursuit of success, believing that once they make it, they will finally have time to nurture the people they love. But success without connection is a lonely road. It is a mansion filled with silence. It is a crowded room where no one truly knows you. It is achieving everything you ever wanted, only to realize that you have no one to share it with. No amount of money or accolades can replace the feeling of belonging, of being deeply seen, of being loved, not for what you do, but for who you are. Connection is what makes our victories sweeter and our burdens lighter. When we succeed, the joy is multiplied. When we have people to celebrate with, when we fail, the pain is softened. When we have people to lift us up. Success alone can be isolating, but connection reminds us that we are not alone. That we are supported, valued, cherished, that no matter what happens, we belong. True wealth is not found in accomplishments, it is found in relationships. It is in the conversations that last for hours, the shared meals that bring warmth to the soul, the quiet moments of understanding that need no words. It is in knowing that no matter what challenges come, you have people who will stand beside you. People who will remind you of your worth even when the world tries to make you forget. If we measure our lives only by success, we may find ourselves constantly chasing something that never truly satisfies. But if we measure our lives by connection, we will find meaning in every moment, richness in every experience, purpose in every relationship. Connection is what makes us feel alive. It is what gives our lives depth, beauty, and significance. Because at the end of the day, it is not the trophies we collect, the titles we earn, or the wealth we accumulate that will matter most. It is the love we share, the lives we touch, and the connections that remind us why we are here in the first place. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful tools we have in fulfilling our deepest needs as human beings, yet it is often the most overlooked. We move through life reacting to situations based on unconscious patterns shaped by our past experiences, by the way we were raised, and by the expectations of society. We chase after success thinking it will bring us happiness. We seek relationships hoping they will heal our wounds. We look for validation from the world, assuming it will make us feel whole. But without self-awareness, we may find ourselves stuck in cycles of dissatisfaction, wondering why nothing ever feels enough, why we still feel empty despite having everything we thought we wanted. Self-awareness is the ability to understand our own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. It is the capacity to recognize why we do what we do, why we crave certain things, and why we react in certain ways. When we become self-aware, we begin to see that many of our unmet needs stem from within, not from external circumstances. We realize that security is not just about having financial stability, but also about having inner peace. We understand that passion is not just about external excitement, but about finding a deep sense of purpose. We recognize that recognition is not just about the approval of others, but about acknowledging our own worth. Without self-awareness, we may continue searching for fulfillment in all the wrong places, mistaking temporary satisfaction for lasting fulfillment. We might believe that if we just work harder, earn more, or impress the right people, we will finally feel secure. But security does not come from achievements alone. It comes from self-trust, from knowing that no matter what happens, you have the resilience to handle it. When you develop self-awareness, you start to shift from relying on external validation to cultivating inner stability. You no longer need constant reassurance from the world because you have built a foundation of self-belief. Similarly, self-awareness helps us understand our need for passion and excitement. Many people seek thrills in relationships, careers, or experiences, thinking that external stimulation will keep them fulfilled. But true passion does not come from constant external excitement. It comes from aligning with what truly matters to us. It comes from knowing ourselves deeply, understanding what brings us joy, and following a path that feels authentic. When we are self-awareness, we stop chasing temporary highs and start building a life that excites us from the inside out. The need for recognition and love is one of the deepest human desires, But without self-awareness, we may seek it in unhealthy ways. We might chase approval from people who do not truly care for us, or seek validation from social media likes and achievements instead of from genuine relationships. When we develop self-awareness, we begin to recognize that our worth is not determined by others. We see that love and recognition must start from within. When we value ourselves deeply, when we recognize our own gifts and strengths, we naturally attract people who respect and appreciate us for who we truly are. Self-awareness also helps us break free from limiting beliefs and past conditioning that prevent us from fulfilling our deepest needs. Many of us have been taught to ignore our emotions, to push through pain, to prioritize productivity over well-being. But self-awareness allows us to pause, reflect, and understand what we truly need. It gives us permission to change old patterns, to choose a new way of being, to stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. When we become self-aware, we stop looking outside of ourselves for happiness, security, and love. We realize that we are the source of our own fulfillment. We stop waiting for life to give us what we need and start creating it for ourselves. We build relationships that nourish us, careers that align with our values, and a mindset that supports our growth. We no longer live by default, we live by design. In the journey of fulfilling our deepest human needs, self-awareness is the key that unlocks everything. It empowers us to take control of our lives, to stop seeking from the outside what we must first cultivate from within. It is the foundation upon which true fulfillment is built, because when we truly understand ourselves, we can finally give ourselves everything we have ever needed. At the core of everything we seek security, passion, recognition, and love lies one undeniable truth: fulfillment begins from within. We spend so much of our lives searching outside of ourselves, believing that the right job, the right relationship, or the right level of success will finally make us feel whole. But without self-awareness, no achievement, no amount of validation, and no external source can ever truly satisfy us. The power to fulfill our deepest needs has always been in our hands. When we cultivate self-awareness, we stop chasing fleeting sources of happiness and start building lasting fulfillment. We recognize that security is not just about financial stability, but about the confidence we have in ourselves. We understand that passion is not found in external excitement alone, but in aligning our lives with our true purpose. We see that recognition is not about the approval of others, but about learning to appreciate our own worth. The more we understand ourselves, the less we rely on external forces to make us feel complete. We shift from seeking to creating, from reacting to choosing. We begin to build a life that is not just about meeting surface level desires, but about deeply nourishing our soul. We learn to let go of patterns that no longer serve us, to trust in our own resilience, and to live with intention instead of fear. In the end, the fulfillment of our deepest human needs comes not from what the world gives us, but from how we show up for ourselves. When we develop self-awareness, when we take ownership of our own happiness, when we recognize that we are the source of everything we seek, that is when we finally step into the life we were always meant to live.